Blessings to my beautiful souls. I hope you are well and taking care of yourselves. And most importantly, I hope you're all staying hydrated. Welcome to another chapter. I believe we are now on chapter 11, still on the same topic on manipulative daydreaming. This time, my darlings, this time we're getting heated. And it's time to get personal. And the hidden side of MD. This chapter of Raw and Cut, we are going to call it Stuck in Fantasy. And why is it personal, you ask? Well, my darlings, we are going to discuss the turning of the heat, sexual MD, the coping mechanism nobody, trust me, nobody wants to talk about and avoids. So, we're going to do the confession. Some of my darlings has put in a request to discuss this personal and slightly embarrassing side of the MD world. So, I'm going to talk about something which I believe is never admitted out loud, and I have to squeeze it out to people because they are ashamed and embarrassed about it. So, there's nothing to be ashamed about, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. So, we're going to talk about it. So the reason why people do feel embarrassed and they kind of hide it from their friends, their partners, and trust me, even to themselves. There's a version of manipulative daydreaming that hides in the shadows, the kind of that uses intimacy, desires, and an imagined connection as a way to survive life. Not for pleasure, not for excitement, but for emotional oxygen. This is the part of MD nobody relates to publicly, but privately, it's everywhere. And today, I'm going to say it with my chest the truth about sexual MD. Here we go. So, sexual MD isn't really about sex. It's about the emotional world your mind builds when reality feels too cold, too quiet, too empty, or too unsafe. It's the fantasy where you're chosen, you're seen, you're held, you're valued, you're powerful, you're wanted, you're safe. It's the place your nervous system goes when real life doesn't give you that real intimacy, that real connection, or emotional presence you needed. This is the part of empty, this seductive part, this burning desire part. It's badass. It's that fire that touches the depths of your soul like nothing else. The dark passion, that place where your fantasies and desires come out to play. And as I discussed in all my previous podcasts, and let me be real, 50 Shades of Grey and 365 Days have nothing on me, my darlings, and nothing on my worlds I built in my mind. I was creating stories long before those films even existed. And when I watched them, trust me, my ego whispered to me and said, I could do better. Because in MD, you're in the driver's seat. You can edit, you can rewrite, you can repeat the moment that makes your heart race. You can control the entire narrative. And that's why this part of MD becomes the most addictive. Not because of the content, but because of the power, the control, the freedom, the intensity, the emotional release. Some people become so addictive and attached to their inner world that they stop reaching for real relationships. And like I said, I'm not looking for a relationship, but honestly, in this what I don't know what's it called, modern dating scene, is it? Or middle age dating scene? I don't know. But whatever it's called, I completely get it, especially what I've seen on social media. So I'm completely old school. And to me, I want to see a man in front of me. I want to see a man's presence. I want to see and feel his vibe, feel his energy. I want to watch his actions. I want his words. I want to look in his eyes and see if he can hold eye contact. I want to feel and see his work, his character, his consistency. So my list isn't long, trust me, it's not. But it's just real. I want real, not internet, not apps, real. And the most important, old school basics. But as I go through social media, I'm going through the reels and look at society today. Basically, men are openly saying they will cheat regardless. Women are labeled so toxic. People are even giving up on relationships because peace feels safer than connection. I was one of them. Standards and expectations are through the flipping roof now. Sex has become replaceable and empty. I just find it that today's society, that sex is just easy to get. This back in my day, you had to work for it, but now it's like, no, sex is nothing. Everyone is stuck in their minds instead of their hearts. We're lost. I believe, we're so disconnected. We're out of touch of ourselves. So, yes, this side of empty is rising, especially in younger generation. And it's heartbreaking because there are genuinely good souls out there who just want someone to talk to, someone to coach, and to feel safe with. But here's the danger: when you let the seduction take over, you fall into a deeper hole. You keep feeding the desire. It's never enough. You lose control. You crave the next fix. You become trapped in your own world. And that's when ND stops being a coping mechanism and becomes a cage, and it drains all your energy. So the emotional architecture of this MD loop is, let me break it down. What sexual MD really builds inside you. So validation, a world where someone finally looks at you like you matter. Power, a world where a world where you're not small, ignored, or dismissed. You're magnetic. Safety, a world where nothing can hurt you, abandon you, or betray you. Identity, a world where you get to be the version of yourself you've never been allowed to be. Attachment, a world where connection is guaranteed and not earned. So, none of this is about physical intimacy, it's about emotional completion. Your mind isn't chasing pleasure, it's chasing wholeness. It's the part of you that is screaming to be finally seen, to be finally heard and understood, to be met with gentleness, to be held in a way that lets your guard drop for the first time, to feel presence that says, "You're safe, I'm here." You don't have to carry everything alone anymore. So it does have a pattern, unfortunately. Sexual MD follows a very specific, I can't say that word, a cycle. So number one is the trigger. Okay, so you feel lonely, unseen, stressed, overwhelmed, or disconnected. Number two, the immersion. Your mind slips into the fantasy, the place where everything feels warm, alive, and emotionally rich. This is why music, a scene in a movie, or even a random advert in a magazine can pull you in so quickly. They don't just entertain you, they kind of activate you. They set the tone, they build the atmosphere, the romanticize the actual moment. Then they give you the imagination a doorway, so and your nervous system walks straight through it. So your brain releases dopamine and oxytocin, the chemical of pleasure and bonding. Number three, crash. Reality returns. The fantasy dissolves, and you're left with the complete emptiness of what you wished you had, and is the most horrible feeling ever. Number four, repeat. Your brain goes back to the fantasy because it's the only place that feels like home. This is not an addiction, this is an attachment hunger. And number five, the crash. So the crash after sexual MD, is brutal. It's not just a dopamine drop, it's an emotional come down. You feel drained. irritable, empty, completely disconnected, disappointed, ashamed, frustrated, lonely, because you didn't just lose a fantasy, you lost the version of yourself that felt loved, that felt powerful, desired, and emotionally held. The crash isn't about the content, it's about the contrast. So, fantasy gives you everything, reality basically gives you nothing. And your nervous system fills the gap like a wound. And the root, the sexual envy usually comes from one of these places. So, growing up without emotional affection, being forced to be strong too early, losing someone who gave you deep intimacy, being in a relationship where you felt invincible, never being chosen the way you needed, never feeling safe in your body or identity, never having a partner who saw your soul. So your mind built a world to protect you, to comfort you, to raise you. And sexual envy is not a flaw, please don't be ashamed. It's a self made sanctuary. So, the revelation, here's the part that hits. It wasn't intimacy you wanted, it was connection. It wasn't desire you craved, it was being seen. It wasn't fantasy you were addicted to, it was an emotional safety. And your mind wasn't escaping reality, it was trying to repair it. So, the rebirth. This is the part where I step into my power. I'm not shaming myself for how I coped. I'm not hiding the parts of me that needed comfort. I'm not pretending I didn't build worlds to survive. I'm acknowledging it. I am owning it. I'm transforming it because the same imagination that created sexual envy is the imagination that will create my healing, my identity, my future, my success, my emotional stability, my £1 million empire, call it, my creative brand, my next chapter. So I'm not breaking the fantasy, I'm breaking the dependence. I'm not killing the worlds I built, I'm learning how to build a real one that feels just as safe. So, this is my raw uncut. This is my truth. This is my rebirth. Should you wish to learn more on how to gain control, I am at your service, darlings. So please head over to my page. I urge you to open the vault. In the meantime, I hope this chapter has shed some light. Please share the love and hit the like button and leave a comment, even if you just say, "Hello, Nikki." Support our journey and subscribe to my channel. It truly means a lot to me. And remember, I am what I am. I am enough. Indeed, you all are beautifuls. And I am so proud of you all. I am Nikki, your sovereign architect. And I love you all dearly. Have a blessed day. Take care.